Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How you doing? This is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation. You know I'm the voice, and you know I'm the choice. And we're here once again, creating another great episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, coming at you live from our usual place, the Prototype Studio in Wheaton, Maryland, which is not far from Washington, D.C. And it's great to be back here creating content like I normally do. It is an honor and a pleasure to actually facilitate great content and great episodes for your listening pleasure. And it makes me feel really good because every time that I'm here recording, not just, in the Prototype Studio, but anytime that I'm recording in general, it truly makes me happy because, with me having creative mediums, this type of creative medium makes me feel good about myself. And they say that with people that are struggling with mental health, that when you have a creative outlet, when you have some kind of creative art, it helps you to be a little bit more focused. You're a little bit more free-flowing. You don't overthink things, or at least, not many people overthink things. And it's great because, you're kind of going at this freestyle. And I love it. I really love doing what I do. I love creating. I love, being myself and just doing what I love to do here on this type of format. And I think any person, any legitimate podcaster would probably tell you the same thing. I think overall it's like we're doing it because it makes us happy, we have fun with it, and that's the way to be. If you're doing it for any other reason, then, this may not be for you. This type of creative art, this type of creative medium may be something else that, you're just thinking to yourself, maybe this isn't the one. So that being said, that's all I have to say about that. Before I start today, I do want to kind of give my condolences to the family of the late Bob Weber. Bob was somebody that I knew who I considered to be a real nice person. I considered him to be, very nice to me, and he was like a friend. And I knew him through his daughter, Taryn. They are from New Jersey, I think the Middletown area or something of that sort. And every so often they would come over to the Baltimore area to go over and to see a local band called American Diary. Taryn was a big fan of their work. Bob later on was a big fan of their music too. So, Bob just thought, well, this is something that, Taryn and I can do together. We can enjoy ourselves, have a good time. Nothing's too good for my girl, and I really loved and respected Bob for that because, he put family first. He put Taryn first, and it was quite lovely. I found out recently that Bob passed away this year on St. Valentine's Day after an 18-year battle with cancer. Now, I'm reading this from like a source. I'm not making this up. I'm reading this. It said that, Bob fought the great fight and beat cancer 4 times in the 18-year battle. He is predeceased by his father, Bob Sr., and his mom, Evelyn, survived by his wife, the love of his life, Shelley, his kids, Taryn and her boyfriend John, Raylan and her husband Ryan, and etc. And that really hurts when somebody that I have a lot of love and respect for, somebody who is good people, and just somebody who I have a lot of respect for, has to depart. So the only thing I have to say is, my, thoughts and prayers and my condolences are with Bob's family, friends, and colleagues. And I just want to say, Bob, thank you so much for your friendship and, all the times that, we've known each other. I really appreciate it, bud. And, I hope that when you get up there that you're going to get your wings on and you'll be flying out there with the angels. So that's that. We're going to go ahead and start this thing off. I actually had a request to actually cover this part of the podcast, this subject matter, because this originated from a question from our Q&A forum that happened on the last episode. And I was like, okay, I can talk about that because it is something that I think that people should know a little bit. It is definitely in my wheelhouse, so I'm comfortable with it, knowing that we're going to talk a little bit about martial arts. But what I talk about at this point is not just so much martial arts related, because anything that I talk about martial arts wise can be translated into real life. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people I know are always saying, oh, he's talking about martial arts again, blah, 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 blah. Dude, it is very translatable. Please believe. You just kind of have to enter it with the open mind and just go for it. Go for the gusto. The question that was asked for the last episode was about the relationship between student and teacher in the martial arts, the student and the instructor, the student and the master, the student and the grandmaster. What is it all about? Why is it important? What does it mean to me? And that so forth. And I'm going to go ahead and explain it more in detail. And I think it's important for anyone out there to know about this, especially if you're a martial artist. You definitely can relate a little bit more because this is more direct. However, once again, if you enter the hall with an open mind, it does make sense and it can be translatable in the world of outside the martial arts. I always thought that the relationship between the student and the instructor, or the student and the master, the student and the grandmaster, is very important because, it's kind of like the same thing, like, the child and the parent. That relationship is very important. I've always looked to my grandmaster like he was my father, like my real life father. I mean, to hell, I would even consider him more of a father than anything else, really, because he brought me up in the martial arts and in life. But that's for another story. It's important to actually have that relationship because, the instructor's position is to kind of make sure, or I should say, the instructor's position is to make sure that the student gets everything that they need, not only in, their training of the martial arts, but in martial arts as a whole and in everyday life. The instructor is, for a lack of a better term, like a mentor to that student. The instructor, rather if it's a he or she, they are the shining example of what the student is aspiring to be. Because in the student's eyes, the instructor, the master, the grandmaster is absolutely perfect. They're flawless. They know so much about, the martial arts and life, and they can explain things beyond belief. If you ask a question, they would be able to answer it within a blink of an eye, like that. Whether if it's asking about a certain martial arts technique, or asking about, like, what's this move versus this move, this, that, and a third, or just asking about everyday life. And, I can almost tell you that a lot of martial artists who train out there look at their instructors, their masters, and their grandmasters in that way. And, it's a common thing, and I don't blame them because, we're probably with them a lot of times in our lives. A lot of our time that that we live every day, a good chunk of it is with them. The number one chunk of it would probably be our parents, but they're damn near close to second place. You know what I mean? They are there to build us up. They are there to train us. They are there to show us what's right from wrong. They are there to guide us where, if we're trying to be like really good human beings of the world, they tell us, like, look, this is what it is. And they're not afraid to get in our faces and let us know if we're messing up or not. Any good martial arts instructor would be like, look, I love you, but there are some things that, you need to work on and that needs to be corrected. Whether if it's in the martial arts or outside of it is irrelevant. But they want to see you succeed, and they are investing their time into you to make sure that you are the perfect person through their vision, And it's not to say that you're not perfect in any ways or you're not as good, but they just they're looking out for your well-being. And I appreciate that, because I know that coming up, my martial arts instructor, my grandmaster, was always looking out for my best interest. And so were like my other fellow instructors that were teaching me and kind of molding me and building me. They were looking out for my best interest. And they were like, man, we got to make sure that you're on the up and up, because we do not want you to fail. We want you to succeed well in life, in martial arts life, and everything. And I think it's very important for instructors to be that guiding example, and to be that mentor, and to be there for their students, and to be there for their fellow students that take the same kind of classes that they do. You know what I mean? Now, when you're in that position, please understand that it is a powerful position to be in, because one false move, one thing that you do could break that relationship. And I've heard horror stories about certain martial art instructors who do this and that, who act very negatively, that treat their students like they're like not even an equal, that they're below them, and they just have like a rotten attitude, not only towards their students but just others in general. Like, they would say something like, well, they wouldn't probably say it directly, but it'd be like, who are you to talk? Because you're not even in the same level as I am. I accomplished this, you didn't. And if that's the case for any of the martial art instructors out there, not saying that every single one in the world would act like this, but if you are an instructor that has that type of stuff and your students call you out on that, maybe it's time to really think about, changing your ways a little bit, toning down the bad machismo and the attitude, we as instructors really owe it to not only our students, but ourselves. They see us, and we're the reflection of what they want to be. And I'm telling you, it's important. If they see you in a very good attitude, in a positive way, and that you practice what you preach, I'm telling you, they will stick to it like white on rice. If you don't, and it's the other way around, and you don't practice what you preach, that you're negative all the time, and that you're doing all these things that are not the way of what a martial arts instructor, master, or grandmaster should be, shame on you. That's all I'm going to say. Shame on you. So, not saying, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you how it is. What you do at this point, if you are a martial arts instructor, that is up to you and your responsibility. But for those that are trying to be, a positive role model for their students and trying to, do whatever they can to have a very good, solid relationship and, to maintain the student and teacher relationship, congratulations, you're one of the few. But if you're not, better think about something. Come up with a plan B or plan C, D, E, F, or G or something. But that's all I got to say at that moment. We're going to take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we will come back with the second segment and then the last segment of them all, the Q&A forum, question and answer. You ask it and I answer it. So do what you must. Take a small break, but come back because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is going to be red hot and in full effect. I want to tell you about an amazing store that's really good for all musicians, music enthusiasts, and a whole lot more, which is Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center in Wheaton, Maryland. That's right, you heard it correctly. Since 1958, Chuck Levin's has been actually tearing up the game when it comes to the music scene. And guess what? Since 1958, they have been the store to go to and a must-visit destination for any serious musician passing through our nation's capital. So, if you're actually a person that's in a band looking for a new instrument, such as an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, a bass guitar, or maybe some drums, if you're a DJ looking for like the greatest DJ equipment, such as turntables and so forth, they got you. Hey, are you actually in an orchestra playing a woodwind instrument, brass instrument, or strings? They got you. They got all the classical instruments that you need. And let's not forget, for all my fellow podcasters, need a microphone? They got you. Need a podcasting vocal track recorder? They got you. They got everything, man. And I'm telling you, it's the best place to go. So if you want to check them out, go ahead and do so, because right here at Chuck Levin's, they're the best. Forget the rest. Mess with the best. Located over at 11151 Veers Mill Road in Wheaton, Maryland. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. If you want to know more about what they have to offer, you can go over to chucklevins.com online or give them a buzz at area code 301-946-8808. Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center. Like I said before, don't worry about the rest. Mess with the best.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
I have talked about this particular subject matter before. And I'm going to bring it back again because I feel like it is something that is, something that happens a lot, something that I feel like it needs to be brought back out to the light, something that I feel like, a lot of people should know about it. So, that being said, we're going to be talking about the world of acting, Specifically speaking, and let me paint this picture out there. You go ahead and you audition for a role in a specific film, and you get accepted in there, which is great because that is something that every actor, we live for that. We live for that moment. We live for the fact that, hey, we are trying to get ourselves out there, and because we auditioned and we earned our spot and we earned a role, it is a fantastic feeling. It is great. It makes us feel alive and knowing that we did it and that we really accomplished great things, And soon enough, when you find out that you got in, later on, there's going to be more people that are going to be rolling in because there's going to be announcements, by the director or the, executive producers. They're going to drop the knowledge, and they're going to drop the news like, hey, this person is in this, film as this character, or this actor is going to be in our film portraying this actor, and so forth. Now, there are a lot of, variables and situations on how one actor can feel. If it's somebody that you don't know, obviously at that point, it's like, okay, we don't know this person, so we don't know what this person is all about. If it's somebody that you know before, and you have a good feeling about that person because you have worked with that person before, then yeah, obviously you feel pretty good, and you're like, wow, this is good because I know this person, we work together, we have great chemistry together, we have a great working relationship, a professional relationship, and the fact that this person is really on point being a highly professional actor, I know for a fact that I'm not going to have a bad time. It's going to work out great. Then, unfortunately, there are those that, you hear about an actor, the person, or you heard about this person on the grapevine, but the vibe and the energy that you feel is at an all-time low, because either by direct experience, or because somebody had told you this and you trust that information, that this person, this actor or actress is not to be trusted because of certain bad behavior, unprofessionalism, and just bad displays of, what it's like to, not be that, a professional actor. That is when, the stuff gets real, right? And I do understand to those that feel that way. Trust me, I haven't felt that I felt that myself, but other people have felt that too. It's not on. It is a common thing that something like this would happen. And I know a lot of people have at that point when they hear, oh, well, this actress is going to be here, or this actor is going to be here. It's like, oh man, I understand your reservations. It could be like, hey, I heard about this actor, and he had a real bad attitude, and just really tried to make everybody miserable with their bad energy, and their attitude, thinking that they're above everybody else, or they feel like they're entitled or something like that. Or maybe an actress was working on a set that that you found out had so much bad professionalism that they literally not only caused themselves to be banned from certain areas, but damn near almost put the whole project in jeopardy of also possibly getting them banned too, almost. And I get that. I totally get that. For me, I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've done pretty much everything that you can with it. The thing about this is very simple and very direct. What they do doesn't reflect the type of stuff that you want to do. If you're a person that's very professional and you just want to get the job done and you just want to stay focused, number one, that is the best thing to do. And that is the way to be. Because when you're keeping your eyes on the prize and you're trying to do exactly what is required of what you need to do on the set with your role, then yeah, it's all good and it's gravy. No doubt. No doubt about it. However, I do understand that, for certain people, they get scared. They're concerned. They're like, man, I heard a lot of bad things about this person, and, this might just kill the vibe. This is something that I feel like, man, I can't even believe that this is even happening. Why is this happening to me right now? What the hell is going on? And there are ways to approach this. There really is. Number one, if this person, this actor in question is such a bad, sense of energy and you're not feeling comfortable about it, number one, the best thing that you can do is that you can tell the director and the producer about, your reservations about this, because they do have a right to know. And the fact that you're trying to not build any more drama, but you're just trying to build awareness about what you feel, yeah, they have a right to know, because a lot of directors and a lot of producers out there have zero tolerance for that type of BS. But most likely, what they're going to say, and leads to number two, is that, the only thing that you can do is just focus on what you need to do to get the job done. 9 times out of 10, they may not even be in the same scene as you are. So you might not even be, filming on the same day in the same scene, which is a great thing, because at that point, you can just concentrate on yourself and not even have to worry about direct contact with that actor, right? Now, this one's a little bit extreme, but it has happened, where if they knew that the person was involved and they didn't like it, there has been moments where there have been certain talented actors and actresses that withdrew from the project. And they did that for their mental health. They also did it for the fact that they want to be professional and they didn't want to cause any drama whatsoever on the set, because they feel like if the stuff goes down, if it does, then it's definitely going to be a situation where, like, yeah, we're in for it. Something is going to go down, and I cannot be held responsible for my behavior of what could happen, or I don't want to be put in this position where, I might cause myself to have a bad reputation. Would it be worth it? Sure, if you wanted to, just to prevent, future drama that might, particularly happen or potentially happen. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much up to you what you want to do, because you went into this project because you felt like you had something to offer. And you felt like, because of your acting chops and ability, because of your experience and what you have done, you feel like you have something to give to this project. You feel like you have something to contribute. And you feel like, hey, I can do this. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. Yeah, let's rock and roll. Because you feel confident in your skills to do it. And you know what? If that's the case, you should follow it. You should go real knees deep in it and say, you know what? I know for a fact that this is something that I want to do. And I know for a fact this is it. This is it. No doubt about it. This is it. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. But, and here's a huge but, at the end of the day, it's up to you to make that decision. If you know that the risk is there of somebody being there and you're feeling uncomfortable, you have to really think about, what you want to do, and is this going to benefit you? If you choose to stay, great. But you have to understand that if you're potentially not going to work with this person, then you shouldn't stress out about it as much. But if you are going to work with this person directly in the same scene, you have to put the project first. You do have to say to yourself and remind yourself, I'm here to do a job. And in between takes, you don't have to associate with that actor, whether if it's a him or a her. As soon as they say cut, we're going to take a break, go somewhere else. You know what I mean? And if that person's like, hanging around in the same crowd as you are, hanging around with the same people, just excuse yourself and just say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and take a breather. Go outside somewhere else where, I can collect my thoughts and my energy back. Now, if you don't want to do it entirely, just to go ahead, again, to save yourself from the potential drama that would possibly ensue, that is your choice. I mean, yes, you did kind of just avoided the drama and all the BS, but at the price of you withdrawing from a project that you potentially could have done really great in and could have got you that notice. So at the end of the day, you have to think to yourself, this decision that I'm about to make, is it worth it? Is it worth it for me to go ahead and do this? And if the answer points at yes, fine. Act on that. If the answer is no, that might mean that you have to think a little bit about your final decision and your final answer. Because there's a song from Oasis that basically goes, "Don't look back in anger, I heard you say." Which means that, don't make a decision so rashly out of emotion. Make a decision based on, what you're really thinking. Give it some time, and then make your decision. That's all I got to say. And I hope that, this helps all my fellow actors out there, because I know that we've seen the BS. We've seen and heard about the dramas, about certain people that we may not like, or we may not favor, or, about actors that, really have a bad rep because they did this, and this, and that, and that, and whoop, 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 and what have you. Do you deserve to have a drama-free experience in acting in, a particular, production, whether if it's full length or short? Absolutely. Absolutely. So at that point, you do have to figure things out, and you do have to analyze certain things, and you have to just go from there and see, where it takes you, And that's all I have to say. We're going to take a little bit of a break. When we come back, your favorite segment and mine, the Q&A forum, question and answer. You ask some questions, bro, I'm going to answer it. So I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. Going to take a little bit of a break. You take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and start the engines and skyrocket to the next destination, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, we're just heating up, baby. In life, we all want to have great health and excellent physical fitness. However, it's never given, only earned. That said, if you want to go to a gym that will help you to get there, then look no further than Kicked Up Fitness at National Business Parkway in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Their mission at Kicked Up is to provide the ultimate functioning training facility that focuses solely on your success, with a diverse team that's highly qualified and dedicated to taking your fitness goals to the next level. Kicked Up also offers a variety of group classes and personal training programs that provide something for everyone, regardless of your fitness level. They believe in working hard, achieving results, all while having fun. So come visit their facility in person, which is located at 114 National Business Parkway, Suite 100 in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, 20701. Now, if you see my friend Sean Queen, who's the owner of Kicked Up,
Tell him that Benny Chow of Miscalculated sent you, and he'll hook you up with a complimentary 7-day pass just to try it out. Need more info? Give him a call. 410-888-9066. Email them at kufitnessnbp@gmail.com or visit them at their website at www.kufitnessnbp.com. Kicked Up Fitness. Never given, only earned.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
All right, guys, what's going on? We're back on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, about to be in with the final segment of this whole thing. But before we do that, here we go. The Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is asking for help on a voluntary basis to anyone out there that would like to assist our podcast show by the ways of sponsorship slash financially donating to the podcast show to help make the quality of our podcast better. All proceeds that we raise, all the money that we get when we raise, will go towards getting more equipment and better equipment that we need, such as more microphones for our in-studio guests, those XLR cables that are for those microphones, headphones for our in-studio guests, and even a MacBook Pro, which is the official computer of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Any and every donation that you make will help out, no matter what the amount is. So, insert the joke. If you want to donate like $5 million, which I don't think anybody would want to do that, but you never know, we definitely would appreciate it. And hell, we would even make you an executive producer. That would be awesome. To even as little as $5, every little bit helps, and we would definitely appreciate your assistance. You can make a donation by the following. You can make a donation through PayPal and on Venmo, and you can just go ahead and make that donation to our tag name at Kim Hoang MD Actor. That's once again KimHoang MD ACTOR. Not only you can do that on PayPal as an app, but you can also do that on PayPal, the website. I think Venmo has a website, but for all intents and purposes, go through the app. Also, Cash App. We have a Cash App. You can go ahead and donate through the tag name $ Kim Hoang MD Actor. Once again, $ KimHoang MD ACTOR. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest segment of them all. We have it right here. It is the Q&A form, question and answer. You ask them questions and I will answer it. I'm really excited because, number one, I have the questions right over here, so it's pretty good, and I have it all listed up. All the ducks are in the row. They are highlighted and everything, so it's going to be easy for me to kind of go through the shores and kind of navigate through all that. So I'm really excited about it, and this is going to be good. I'm fired up and ready to go. I know that you guys are, so let's go ahead and do it. Normally we have 7 questions, but lately I have been nice and I've been generous. So we will have 3 more bonus questions, making it a grand total of 10. So let's just go ahead and try to slam this, because I don't have a lot of time, and I know that you guys want to go ahead and enjoy your day, even though we definitely appreciate the fact that you spent it with us. So let's get it rocking and rolling. Question number 1. Kim, is there a character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whether it be a hero or a villain, that you would like to see be made into a full-length motion picture? Taylor from Jacksonville, Florida. Taylor, that's a good question, and I have to say that my answer would probably be the Silver Surfer. there's no other hero that I think that's more iconic than the Silver Surfer, especially a superhero of his magnitude, being that he can go into outer space or in Earth and so forth. He has a surfboard. He has kinetic energy that goes from his body, right from his hands and fingertips. And he's just somebody that I feel like, with the technology that we have with AI and green screen and everything like that, CGI, I think this could really be pulled off. I think that they just need to go ahead and find the right cast, make a good plot, and put this plot from imagination, pen to paper, or imagination from the hands to the keyboard, typing it all up, and then just generating something. Will it actually happen? That is another question, but I'm hoping. Question number 2, Kim, I recently stopped talking to my family due to the fact that my mental health situations cannot handle them and their energy. Any thoughts? Wendy from Austin, Texas. Wendy, I really feel bad, and my heart's with you. I definitely get it. There are some people in my life that I just stopped, talking to. People like, family members and friends and so forth, because, their negative energy was affecting me. You know what I mean? And I don't know what's going on in the air, because earlier this week I had a conversation with a neighbor of mine that, we were talking about this same subject. And he stated that, if there was a relative that you no longer speak to, it's for a reason, and it's up to you whether or not if you want to resurrect that relationship or not. Most likely the relationship will be non-existent because of what that person, has, of what that person has went through, mentally. And it's too draining to rebuild that relationship, or pretend to wanting to repair that relationship when the other people involved that, got to him or got to any other person for that matter, just really doesn't realize the error of their ways and, refuses to apologize or say, hey, I didn't know that this affected you in that way. So I totally get it. If you have to, separate yourself from anybody, family members, friends, working colleagues, people of every day that you kind of know, just for the fact that you need to keep your mental health in a good state, then I think that you should go for it and you should do it, because you only know you. And I think it's very important to keep your mental health in a state where it's comfortable and it's not going to explode. And I just hope, Wendy, that, that you're in a good place, that you're well, and just know that I'm with you. I support you, because as a person that's suffering from mental health challenges myself, I can understand to a degree, and I'm with you 100%. So there it is. Yeah. Question number 3, Kim, who is on your Mount Rushmore of martial art actors of all time? Randall from Knoxville, Tennessee. Oh, God. Oh, Randall, that's a good one, but that's one that's, you really stabbed me in the heart for that one, because, it deals with two things that I love. I love the martial arts, and I love acting. God, if I had to make a Mount Rushmore, because, Mount Rushmore it's basically a monument of 4 of our, American forefathers. I think it's like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, I think that Benjamin Franklin was in it, and I think Thomas Jefferson. So 3 presidents and somebody else, I think. If I had to make my own Mount Rushmore, top 4, Bruce Lee would definitely have to be the number 1, because he was the one that really brought the martial arts action genre out in the forefront and did it, and he was like, I think he was like the one that really got the most notice. And because of that, what he contributed in the martial arts and in the martial arts filming industry, I think that he would have to be like the Godfather, so he would definitely have to be like number 1. Jackie Chan, because obviously he's great at stunt work. I mean, he's definitely, a person of his time, doing a lot of stunts, great martial arts, and having a great style of comedy involved in it. So he would definitely be there as well. 2 more martial arts actors. The third one, I'd probably say Jet Li, because Jet Li, his martial arts style of Chinese wushu, he was able to translate it very well. You know what I mean? And I think it's incredible about, what he did and the type of action and fight choreography that he did. It was definitely amazing, especially with fight scene with traditional weapons. I think that was really, really cool. So I think that, he takes the cake. Plus the fact that he was legitimately a member of the national, Chinese wushu team that was based out of Beijing, China back in the day. I think he actually performed at the White House when Nixon was president. So I think that, he would definitely had to be in there for sure. And then the last one, I would say Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen is definitely a person right now that's definitely taking it to another level. Mixing Kung Fu with other types of martial arts like Taekwondo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I think he's one of the very few that actually was able to fuse everything together in that way and be very successful at it and doing great things with, fight scenes and so forth. So that would be like my Mount Rushmore. I know there's a lot of people that I didn't mention, like, Chuck Norris, he's an OG, Michael Jai White, who, currently is doing his thing and is, really awesome at what he does. Scott Adkins, but, with the 4 that I've mentioned, I think that they did a lot more. They contributed a lot more. And that's all I have to say. So that's my Mount Rushmore. Question number 4. Kim, how do you know, or wait, let me restate that. How do you know how to chase your dreams when there are so many things that hold you back? Trish from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Oh, man. Trish, you really asked a good question here. I didn't realize I was going to get a lot of good questions. I would say this. If there is something that you are passionate about, 24 hours a day, and it always leads you back to, wanting to go back to that and to, have your focus and your emphasis into that, then I think that's a clue to pursue it. You know what I mean? Now, how far that you will pursue it, how far you go with it is pretty much up to you. I've had many people that I knew in my life tried to go for it all the way. And, not to say for the lack of trying, they really did it. They tried to do the best that they could, but they just came up a little short. And then there's some people that I've heard about that literally came from less than nothing and, made a career and did very well. So it's really up to you about how you want to do it and how you want to, how you really want to chase that dream. If it's something that you really feel that it's worth fighting for, and if you feel like it's something that you constantly go back to, then I think you already know the answer, which is you just kind of have to go for it. You kind of have to go in there and swing for the fences and just hope that you knock one right out of the park. So that's what I think. Question number 5, Kim, what do you think about smart TVs? Norman from Biloxi, Mississippi. Norman, I like the idea of it, and I think the convenience factor of it is cool because, now these days you have TVs that have like Netflix inside of it. They have Apple TV. They have Prime Video and things of that nature, and it's really cool. But I feel like, to me, it's not really necessary because, for the lack of it, I'm just going to put the devil's advocate there. What if I try to upload a new software patch on that TV, right? And something glitches bad. And that glitch goes bad, the whole TV goes bad. That's why, personally, I'd rather just have like a regular TV. I already have a stream box with my Apple TV device, so I'm good. I don't need anything else. But the convenience factor in the theoretical sense is pretty rad. And if you're willing to go with that, that's cool. But like me, I already got my streaming box with Apple TV with certain apps. I'm going to be fine. I don't really worry too much about that. Question number 6, Kim, would you consider yourself to be a city guy or a guy that likes nature? Elena from Boise, Idaho. Elena, I'm definitely a city guy. I just love the city. I love big towns and big cities, and I just love being in an area where there's a lot of access to a lot of things. I'm not saying that I don't like the woods, but if you ask me which one I like better, I'd rather be in the city. I'd rather go ahead and paint the town and have a good time. There's just certain things that you can do in a city that you can't do in the nature. And I know there's some people out there that feel like, it's unfair because nature's good, and that's fine. It's just, for me, I know what I like, and I like being in the city. So, last question of the regulation round. Question 7, Kim, Walmart or Target? Trent from Ogden, Utah. Trent, my guy. I think I've probably answered this, but for the sake of saying it, I will say it right now. I do like them equally. Target, because it's more of a specialized store, but Walmart, it's like you get things that you can get at Target, maybe not as extravagant, but you can still get it for like an affordable price. And even things like Coca-Cola or Pepsi Cola or movies and such like that are more affordable at Walmart versus Target. That's what I think. All right, time for the bonus round. Here we go. Question number 8. Kim, between Wawa, Royal Farms, or Sheetz, which one's your favorite? Elizabeth from Frederick, Maryland. Holy guacamole. All right, you're about an hour away from where we are, so it's all good. Damn. It's hard to choose because I do like them all. Royal Farms has great fried chicken and potato wedges, but Wawa has, more great variety when it comes to snacks and drinks. But also Sheetz, their food is also on another level. To get like a hamburger and fries, or like a chicken meal with fries and a biscuit, You can't beat it. So I can't really just pick one. I like them all equally. So that's what I have to say about that. Question number 9. Kim, do you think that there will be a sequel to the Nintendo Switch game of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Phil from Bellingham, Washington. Phil, I think that there will be a sequel to the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate or Super Smash Bros. Series. And when they will drop that, I don't know. Whether if it's going to be exclusively for the Nintendo Switch 2 and or Nintendo Switch, I don't know. But I feel like it's been so long. I think about 2018, I think. So I think they're about due to make like another one. I think they really should. It's been a while. So why not, put that out there, and put another installment of that classic video game and grow the series out. Just my opinion, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking. Last but not least, question number 10, and then we are done, ladies and gentlemen. Kim, what do you say to the individuals that have never trained or never got far in their martial arts training, and when they say that the martial arts is easy? Ali from Aurora, Colorado. Ali, I would just tell them, look, if you are somebody that never trained in the martial arts, I don't think that you have any right at all to say that it's easy to train in the martial arts when you never really stepped inside of the school onto the training floor and really do what we do. Now, as far as, the martial artists that never got their black belt and say that, training in martial arts is easy, then my question, my answer to you is a question of, well, why didn't you stick around to earn your black belt? And I really hate when people say these things and so forth, because they're not really a good reference, that I can look up that type of information or even ask that question. And I would just say that honestly, it's although it can be easy if you put in the work. If you truly put in the work and you work hard as much as you can, then it can be easy, because you're putting so much constant work and going into the dojo, the dojang, the martial arts studio every single time, every single day, working on it and doing the best that you can. And then possibly, putting in the training time outside of that, environment. But if you never did and you never been, you have no rights of saying it. If you didn't get far with it to the point where you finished what you started, I just can't use you. I can't use your opinion. I really can't. Now, if you are somebody that is training right now and is not a black belt, but working hard of getting there, and you're constantly putting in that work, then I would probably take your answer into consideration from a certain standpoint. But that's all I have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. Another one has been thrown in the mix, and another one is in the books. I'm truly happy for the fact that, we really got it done. And it's really awesome that, hey, we did the work. We did the work, and, I'm very happy and I'm very proud. So, that being said, let's just go ahead and close this up. Mainly because it's the end of the road. All right. So, let me go ahead and, get this out here, and let's go ahead and close this up. Mainly because of the fact that, it's just time to close it up. Don't mean that I didn't enjoy, doing this with you guys, but it's just time, it's like saying when you clocked in for work and you put in your 8 hours and then you're done. Unless you want to go ahead and get that overtime, that's totally up to you. But when I'm done with my 8, it's great and I leave. So let's go ahead and do it. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on a lot of social media pages. Go under Facebook and find the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience under the search box. Find us and follow us. We are on Instagram and on Twitter, known as X. Follow us on our tag name at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. Follow us and we will follow you back. We are on the following podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Please like and subscribe to our podcast and all of those mentioned podcasting platforms. And please do us a solid favor. Number one, if you have Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating. If you have Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating and a positive written review, because the more times that you do that, then our podcast will be noticed in the front lines, and somebody could be like, oh, it's that podcast, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. My friend Adam told me about it. He said that we should like, follow, and subscribe to it, and just, let's spread the word. Yes, please. And speaking of spreading the word, if you can spread the word about our podcast on your, social media outlets like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, now known as X, or even Snapchat, or even TikTok, we would appreciate it. And if you tell, your people in person that like your friends, your family members, working colleagues, we appreciate that, because that's brand awareness and sharing is caring. We definitely do appreciate that. Last but not least, if you want to be a guest host, a guest on our show, if you have any questions for a Q&A form, if you have any suggestions or constructive criticisms, please email us at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Whatever the subject is, put it on the subject box, and then in the email, write your email, and then send it out. And then that way, at that point, it's like, okay, I get the email, I read it, and then I can just respond back within like a day or two, because I love communication in that respect. That being said, I want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your love and support. We truly appreciate it. We cannot do this podcast without you guys. And I think, like I said many a times, this isn't my podcast. It's your podcast too. And the fact that we're doing this together and we're having a blast and, having a good time, I think it's incredible and it's lovely. Please be safe out there, guys. You know what I mean? Do the right things. Be safe, because it doesn't do us any good if you do something that you're not supposed to do in life and you get in trouble or you bring yourself in any danger. We don't want you to be buried in a pine box and get lowered 6 feet under. We don't want that. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want you to live life because you deserve it. And we think that you're, deserving of all these great things in life and a whole lot more, because you are deserving of that. And if anybody tells you otherwise, if anybody gets in your face and disrespects you and says that you're not worth it, that you're not worth a damn, if they tell you, you're a failure and you won't fucking make it and so forth, just give them the middle finger and tell them to go fuck off. Like, for real, just let them know that, I'm not going to listen to your negative energy. I got no time for that, I want you guys to be successful. I want you to be striving. I want you to be going for yours. And I think that most importantly, I want you to have that right energy of, entering whatever it is that you want to do in life and just go for it. The opportunity is there. All you got to do is just grab it. So thank you. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I appreciate it. And we're going to do it again. We're going to do another episode again real soon. I would just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So for the one time over at Wheaton, Maryland, home of the Prototype Studios, where we always make our great content from. This is Kim Hoang, your host with the most, the man with the plan, the guy that can bring the power within an hour, and the dude with the right attitude, saying thank you. God bless y'all. Be safe, be well, and be easy. And we'll do it again real soon here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. It's been awesome, guys, but I gotta head out. Peace.